The Valorant protocol is ruthless, and in it you'll find agents that will use you for their own gain, tossing you aside once they're finished. It's no mystery that many agents in Valorant dislike or even despise one another. And I'm not just talking about their Mirror Earth counterparts. But there's one agent that I noticed who stands out among the rest as a cunning puppet master, pulling the strings and playing with the lives of other agents, from deceit to betrayal and, yes, blackmail too. Even our beloved Reyna has gotten deeply entangled in their web of lies. Who is this agent? Who is this puppet master? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Game Theory Funnels, the show that overanalyzes and theorizes about your favorite games so you don't have to. And while I'm busy doing that, why don't you one-tap that subscribe button? We're always doing videos like this to keep you guys up to date. I mean, clearly someone has to. Riot Games is a bit tight-lipped about their lore drops, leaving psychos like me to dive in and figure out how Reyna even got into this mess in the first place. First, we need to understand who Lucia is. Lucia is Reyna's younger sister who is facing a life-and-death situation after an undisclosed incident that took place. Dr. Sabine, aka Viper, is keeping her alive by treating her in her lab. I've discussed more in depth in a recent Viper lore video. Do check it out to understand more about this situation. Anyways, Reyna and Lucia both seem to keep themselves alive by consuming souls and extending their life period. Viper has asked Reyna to keep collecting more souls to keep Lucia alive. I confirmed this from the voice line,
"Fill your heart, Reyna. If you want results, I need those souls."
This is pretty much the gist of what Project Lucia is about. Viper's back in her lab, pitching in to save Reyna's sister. A pretty straightforward project. At least, that is what it seems from the outside. I looked into this really closely and found a couple of really intriguing details that go beyond the project. There are a ton of whys and hows we need to sort out before we understand the real importance of Project Lucia in this whole protocol. What really guided me to Project Lucia and its finer details was this voice line by Killjoy.
It always feels like Reyna is after me personally. Does anyone else feel that way? No? Just me?
It was after this and a ton of digging into other in-game voice lines, I tied it all up. Instead of me explaining more, maybe this voice line alone will tell you the whole story.
I remember the machines Killjoy made. What they did to... Never mind. It does not matter.
Yep. Killjoy's machines took down Lucia and reduced her to the state she is today. The obvious next set of questions that popped into my head were, is Reyna helping out the protocol while staying close to her enemy? Does Viper know the story behind Lucia? What happens if Viper manages to restore Lucia to her original state? Is Reyna going to turn on Killjoy at some point in time? There are a ton of toxic in-game voice lines between the agents in Valorant, but the ones that stick out the most in terms of the overall Valorant lore are the ones that go really personal. Reyna's interactions with Killjoy get wild at times. I feel like the anger is at an all-time high for some of them.
Enough with the robots. I want their maker. Killjoy is an offense to my radiance. I'll break her apart. I don't care how bright you are. You'll never be a Radiant.
Yeah, I wasn't kidding. Reyna sounds like she's really pissed off at Killjoy. If you actually think about it, Reyna and her intentions are pretty natural. She's just really angry at what happened to her little sister, and at some point in time, revenge is the prize she'll be looking for. As of now, she's working real hard to give Viper as many souls as she can to keep Lucia breathing. Once Project Lucia is over, it'll be real stupid for Brim and the gang not to keep an eye out on Reyna. The anger was always there, and the killing has surely not helped calm her down.
And I'm still hungry.
If we rewind back to the first voice line that was mentioned in the intro of this video, it is pretty clear that Killjoy isn't aware of the fact that she might be involved in the incident that weakened Lucia.
It always feels like Reyna is after me personally. Does anyone else feel that way? No? Just me?
From what I understand, Killjoy doesn't have to be around her machines for them to hurt her enemies. She could have very well been away from her turret or alarm bot when the whole incident took place. Reyna's reactions confirm that Killjoy's machines really did hurt Lucia real bad, but by the looks of it, Killjoy doesn't keep an account of what the machines have damaged. Everyone is aware of Reyna's affiliation with the Kingdom. Still, this dossier hits hard in terms of Reyna's present mental and emotional state. The dossier clearly states that it's not just Lucia who she's been protecting, but a whole community of her loved ones as well. She's been fighting an intense war for the Kingdom, but it looks like the Lucia incident changed it all. Now, her fight is possibly more careless, as the more souls she collects, the better are her chances for Lucia to stay alive. The question remains, though, what happens if Lucia is back to her normal state? Does Reyna go on a revenge spree again? Would Killjoy be her first target? This is where I'd bring Viper into this whole situation. Okay, hear me out. This could go a bit too wild, so bear with me. With the facts presented so far, it wouldn't be surprising if Viper is stalling on Lucia's treatment while trying to figure out how to deal with Reyna once her sister is back in action. But what if there's more? I somehow feel Viper, being the scientist she is, might have other intentions as well. Omen was a failed experiment, and that seems to have derailed her from her normal self. Viper has a point to prove, and what if Reyna's sister is the perfect scapegoat for Viper to experiment again?
Viper, must you always play with your food?
The point I'm trying to make here is, why would Viper completely fix Lucia when she knows that in the end, Reyna might just end up slaying everyone? Reyna's whole character seems to be based on revenge. I mean, her history suggests that she's seen a ton of violence happen to the ones she dearly loves. Do you really think that the Lucia incident has completely changed her? To me, it looks like she's humbled herself temporarily, and once she's back with her sister, both of them might just tear into Killjoy's machines. Taking all of this into account, wouldn't it be wise for Viper to stall on this project as much as she can? Being a scientist allows Viper to conduct other experiments on Lucia, and she's no stranger to dealing with her loved ones struggling within the laboratory. Omen is a perfect example of a failed Viper experiment, and she saw him turn into his worst nightmare right in front of her very eyes. Having gone through so much and combining it with Viper's toxic nature, I honestly feel Viper might just be blackmailing Reyna to keep the protocol safe from what could possibly be the biggest revenge story in Valorant. When Valorant was launched, the initial lore started off with Viper and Brimstone handling it all. From recruitment to assigning teams onto various projects, this duo was probably in charge of it all. Sage later replaces Viper for that specific role, and Project Lucia might have been the very reason for this change. Viper might have been assigned to Project Lucia, and thus might have had to step away from the commanding role. I know, the whole Omen experiment might have very well been the reason for her to step down from command. But I feel there's more to it. Sage was also present alongside Viper while Omen was going through his failed transformation. Why would Sage replace Viper if she was also involved in the whole incident? I'd like to bring back Killjoy into the mix again, as I feel she might be the first victim of Reyna's revenge plot. So far, Killjoy seems to be clueless about this whole situation. But as acts pass by, my read is that Viper might very well talk to her and inform her about the damage her machines inflicted on Reyna's sister. By no means do I feel that Killjoy would not put up a fight. Her tech has already proved a point by putting Lucia in a life-and-death situation. Also, the fact that Killjoy is clueless about this whole Lucia drama further reiterates the fact that she isn't keeping an account of who and what her robots are attacking. As lazy as that sounds, Killjoy's probably on her laptop while the whole fight takes place. Her whole skill set revolves around engineering, and instead of physically getting involved, staring at her laptop would be more productive if you think about it the right way. I expect interesting voice line interactions between Viper and Killjoy to be added to the game soon. Informing Killjoy that her robots have done some serious damage to Lucia is key for Viper to proceed further with her plans. From Reyna's perspective, I'm pretty sure she's aware that there's a strong chance Viper might be using her to get her toxic killing tasks done while using Lucia as an excuse. In the end, though, there's not much Reyna can do besides keep collecting and giving souls to Viper with the hope that her younger sister will one day wake up and be fully alive again. With revenge being the major theme behind Reyna's lore, do you think this whole theory adds up well? We all have to understand that at some point in time, Project Lucia will come to an end. What happens after that truly depends on the outcome. When that day arrives, Viper would have to find a way to explain all of this to the rest of the agents and keep them on their toes. The alternate, fairy tale end to Project Lucia would be that Lucia comes out of this whole experiment alive and Reyna convinces her to join the protocol as well. Wait, is that the true story of Agent 8? Could it be Lucia? Though that makes sense in a way, it wouldn't match the overall revenge theme Reyna has built into her character. I honestly feel Reyna is bound to turn on the protocol, and her true personality would be shown once she enters into her revenge hunting mode. Viper's involvement in Project Lucia is key. She is now responsible for what Reyna becomes after the whole Project Lucia is done with. Irrespective of the outcome, Viper has to figure out a way to keep Reyna in the protocol and ensure that she isn't a threat to the rest of the agents. As easy as that may sound, there is a strong possibility that Viper is extending Project Lucia to keep Reyna within her control for a longer period. What do you think about this whole situation? Will Reyna turn on the protocol? Will Lucia survive Viper's experiments, or is it too late for her? Riot is tight-lipped on the situation, so only time will tell. Until then, don't forget, it's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.